Hi students, I am Prakash, Chartered Accountant and acting as academic advisor in Masterminds from the past 20 years. Here is a short video introducing matchless Masterminds briefly for the convenience of the students who came to this channel for the first time. Masterminds was established in the year 2002 and has been acting as a reliable platform to offer coaching for CA and CMA courses. Masterminds is undeniably the pioneer and the leader in MEC, CEC, CA and CMA courses with nearly 20,000 admissions per annum. This is an incredible initiative by three edupreneurs, namely Mohan, Radha and Prakash, that is me. All three qualified CA at a very young age of 21 years and started this organization under the mentorship of my father, Mr. M. Siv Prasad Garu. So Mr. Mohan is my brother and Radha is my sister-in-law. And by the way, it's me, Prakash, Chartered Accountant. So here are the courses for which we offer the coaching. We offer coaching for MEC, CEC groups exclusively at intermediate level. And we also offer integrated coaching for MEC along with CA, CMA Foundation. And we also take exclusive admissions for CA, CMA Foundation or CA, CMA Inter. And we also offer coaching for CA, CMA final level as well. Recently, we have started a unique academic program at intermediate level, that is MEC Pro, aiming for the students who want to pursue BBA or MBA or CLAT courses in future rather than CA or CMA, and we have received a huge applause for the same. So 20 years of experience, and we have finished more than 155 batches of CA or CMA Inter in Guntur alone and similar number of batches in all our branches together. So till now completed 17 batches of CMA Inter and 18th batch is going on. Successfully completed 25 batches of CA final till now and 26th batch is running now, and we have also successfully completed 4 CA or CMA final batches in Hyderabad. So till now our students are able to achieve 990 All India ranks at various levels of CA, CMA courses, and our students are able to achieve first rank for 48 times in various courses for which we offer coaching. So in a single year, our students are able to achieve 3 All India first ranks in the year 2020, and till now our students are able to achieve state first rank at MEC intermediate level for 18 times, that too 8 times in a row. In a single attempt, our students are able to grab 98 All India ranks at CMA Inter and final results of January 2021 and our All India ranks in February 2022 CA results. And here are the 10 All India ranks in CA final results of 2021 alone. And till now, our students are able to secure 93 All India ranks at IPCCR CA Inter level in the last 9 years. And here is our physical presence: Guntur, Vijayawada, Hyderabad, Amirpet, Dilshuk Nagar, Vizag, Tirupati, Kurnool and Rajahmundry. And here are the locations where we have branches. And here are the contact numbers. Here is the list of our physical presence and here is the list of our online presence. And for your kind information, we don't have branches in any other locations other than stated here. So please do install our Android app Masterminds Online Classes from Google Play Store, and if you belong to iOS platform, then install an app called Class Plus from Apple Store and enter the organization code as MZGUN. In this app, you can find a large number of useful content like regular batch videos, crash batch videos, rapid revision batches, guidance classes, motivational videos, amendment videos, Masterminds test series, whatnot. Large amount of useful content is already available in the app. In our app, you can find a section called study material where large amount of free content is also available. Until now, more than 24,000 students have already downloaded our app and we are nearing to 25,000. Sir, is it possible to interact with the directors directly? Yes. If it is an administrative issue, you need to contact Mr. Mohan sir on this mail ID. If it is academic issue, you need to contact me on this mail ID. So thanks to all our students who are our true brand ambassadors and who helped us to reach this position. All the best.
paper 4 ma, taxation in the section B, indirect taxes. We are now going to see the RTP with respect to May 2022 ma. Okay. Now the first question is Vidula Implex Limited is engaged in supplying the sports goods. The company did not opt for registration under GST. The proper officer under GST based on the inquiry finds that the concern is liable for registration and he registers the firm on a temporary basis on 15th June 2020. Generally, when a person is liable for registration, from that particular date within 30 days he should apply for registration. If at all he did not do that, in those cases definitely the department is going to allot you a temporary registration number ma. That is the thing that happened here. Okay. Then the date when that particular department allots you a temporary registration number, from that particular date within 90 days you have to apply for RC ma. You shall apply for RC. Next one. After being granted the registration certificate, the company availed the following services for the purpose of its business. Renting of motor vehicle from Blue Taxi Private Limited, where the GST was charged at the rate of 12%. Here the point is, renting of motor vehicle designed to carry the passengers. In that case, definitely RCM can be applicable as per 9 subsection 3. As per section 9 subsection 3. But whereas here there are two types of GST rates. One with respect to renting of motor vehicle. One is 12%, another one is 5%. Whereas when you are paying GST at the rate of 12%, you are following FCM. That means there are two options that are available for the supplier who is providing renting of motor vehicle. If at all, he can follow FCM or he can follow RCM. If he wants to follow FCM, in those cases the rate of tax will be 12%. Whereas if you want to follow the RCM, then the rate of tax will be 5%. So in this particular illustration, the rate of tax charged is 12%. That means the supplier is following FCM, forward charge mechanism. In that the supplier will pay the GST to the government. Whereas our recipient, who is the recipient here? Vidula Implex Limited is not liable to pay the GST here. Whereas appointed Mr. Rajesh as a technical director for advisory role in the business, and the payment was made on the basis of contract entered. However, he was not an employee. If at all he is an employee of the company, in that case definitely he will not be treated as a director. Here he is not an employee, he is independent director. Then supply of services by a director to a company, it is covered under 9 subsection 3 RCM. The recipient is liable to pay the GST. Okay. So for the second case, definitely RCM is applicable. Next one. During the course of its business, the company issued an invoice to the customer, erroneously charged higher value by 34,000. Such invoice was issued on 28th Feb 2021. Here, what happened, ma? Invoice value is more than actual value. When invoice value is more than actual value, in those cases, for that difference of 34,000, you need to issue the credit note. You need to issue the credit note. That is the point, ma. Next one. Further, in the month of Feb 2021, the company also generates an e-way bill for interstate transport of the goods. However, immediately on the generation of e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before it is dispatched from the factory for delivery. Okay. Further, in the month of February 2021, company generated the e-way bill. However, immediately on the generation of e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before it is dispatched from the factory. Is it possible to cancel the e-way bill once it is generated? Yes, ma, definitely. Once the e-way bill is generated, from that particular time, within 24 hours, the e-way bill can be cancelled. In the month of March 2021, since the company was incurring heavy losses, it applied for cancellation of registration on 15th March. The order for cancellation was made on March 30th. So application was made on March 15th, whereas cancellation was made on March 30th. Okay, but whereas the retrospectively the cancellation with effect from 15th March 2021. Okay. Here from which date you are liable to, from which date within 3 months you should file the final return, because once your RC is cancelled you are required to file the final return within 3 months. From which date these 3 months shall be counted? Date of cancellation or date of order of cancellation, whichever is latter date. So what is the latter date? March 30th. From that particular date 3 months should be counted. Okay. From the following information provided above, choose the most appropriate answer for the following questions. First one, after the grant of temporary registration, Vidula Implex Limited needs to apply for registration within dash from the date of grant of temporary registration if no extension of period is to be granted for such temporary registration. So from the date of temporary registration within 90 days. Within 90 days you should apply for the RC. Okay. Second one, in case of which of the following services the company is liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism? That means which cases 9(3) will be applicable? Renting of motor vehicle, directorship services, both A and B, neither A or B. Renting of motor vehicle is covered under FCM because it is taxable at the rate of 12%. Directorship is under RCM. So not both A and B, neither A. So the answer will be here. Directorship services, option B is the answer. Which document is required to be issued by the company? In respect of the invoice issued on 28th February 2021. Debit note. Generally, debit note is issued when invoice value is less than actual value. Credit note, invoice value is more than actual value. Bill of supply, generally it is for import, whereas revised tax invoice at the time of registration, from the effective date of registration to actual date of registration, this revised tax invoice will be issued. So here the correct answer will be credit note. For that excess 34,000 is there now in the particular problem. For that a credit note is needed to be issued. That is the point. Next one, the company needs to file its final return by. What is the date here? March 30th. From that particular date 3 months means April, May, June. June 30th it will be. So it will be June 30th, 2021. That is the last date for filing its final return. Next one. Which of the following statements is correct? In respect of e-way bill generated for the goods in the month of February for which order was cancelled. Once generated, e-way bill cannot be cancelled. E-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours of generation. Point C, option C, e-way bill can be cancelled within 48 hours of generation. Option D, e-way bill can be cancelled within 72 hours of generation. Option will be option B. E-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours of generation. So this is all about question number 5. So sixth one is here, Mr. Shambhu, a trader registered under GST in Delhi, is engaged in wholesale business of toys for kids. Mr. Nandi, registered under GST in Patiala, a regular return filer, supplied toys in bulk to Mr. Shambhu for selling to end consumers. Mr. Shambhu paying tax in regular scheme in Delhi has not filed GSTR 3B for last 2 months. Mr. Nandi wants to generate e-way bill for the toys amounting to 5 lakhs to be supplied to Mr. Shambhu. Also, Mr. Narayan from Jammu approached Mr. Shambhu for purchasing toys amounting to 75,000 for the purpose of return gift on his son's first birthday party. Shambhu wants to generate an e-way bill in respect of an outward supply of the goods to Mr. Narayan. Examine with reference to the provisions under the GST law whether Mr. Nandi and Mr. Shambhu can generate e-way bill. The question is here, when this e-way bill generation can be blocked. Generally, if you did not file the GSTR 3B for continuous 2 months, whereas with respect to GSTR 1, if at all it was not filed for any of 2 months, in those cases, e-way bill generation can be blocked. With respect to GSTR 3B, continuous 2 months GSTR 3B was not filed, whereas with respect to GSTR 1, what is the position, ma? Whereas with respect to GSTR 1, definitely any of those 2 months it was not filed, e-way bill generation can be blocked. But based on the latest amendment for this May 2022, this e-way bill generation will be blocked only in the capacity of the supplier. That means, let's say Mr. A is there. Mr. A did not file GSTR 3B for continuous 2 months. In that case, Mr. A as a supplier cannot generate the e-way bill. But whereas Mr. A is a buyer or a recipient in some cases, in those cases, if the capacity of Mr. A is in the capacity of recipient or a transporter, in those cases, definitely e-way bill can be generated. This is the latest amendment for this May 2022. Okay, ma'am. So here the point is, Mr. Shambhu, a trader registered under GST in Delhi, is engaged in wholesale business of toys for kids. Mr. Nandi, registered under GST in Patiala, a regular return filer. Okay. File supplies toys in bulk to Mr. Shambhu. So here Nandi is supplying to Shambhu, ma. Who is the person that does not file the GSTR 3B for last 2 months? Mr. Shambhu. So here Shambhu in the first case is a recipient and Nandi is a supplier. Okay. That means for the first case, when the goods are going to be sent by Mr. Nandi to Mr. Shambhu, definitely Shambhu is in the capacity of the recipient. As per the latest amendment, definitely Mr. Nandi can generate the e-way bill in the name of Mr. Shambhu because he is a recipient. Okay. But whereas in the second case, here Mr. Shambhu is supplying to Mr. Narayan for the 75,000. In this case, with respect to the second case, definitely Mr. Shambhu is unable to generate the e-way bill because Shambhu is now in this particular e-way bill, he is in the capacity of the supplier. When you are in the capacity of the supplier and you did not file the GSTR 3B for a continuous 2 months, e-way bill generation can be blocked. In those cases, what is the position, ma? Definitely, with respect to the case of Shambhu to Narayan, the Shambhu cannot generate the e-way bill, ma. Whereas with respect to Nandi to Shambhu, the first case, Shambhu is in the capacity of the recipient. As per the latest amendment, definitely Nandi can generate the e-way bill. And see the answer for this here. This is the answer, ma. See, this is the summary. You need to focus more on. E-way bill generation facility is blocked only in respect of any outward movement of the goods of a registered person who is not eligible for e-way bill generation. E-way bills can be generated in respect of inward supplies of said registered person. So, as a supplier or in the capacity of the supplier, the person is unable to generate the e-waybill when the e-waybill generation is blocked. But in the capacity of the recipient, e-waybills can be generated in his name. Based on that, see this, Mr. Nandi, who is making a outward movement of the goods, definitely there will be no restriction in generating the e-waybill. But whereas with respect to Mr. Shambhu to Narayan is an outward supply of the goods by Mr. Shambhu, who has not filed the GST R3B for 2 months, therefore e-waybill generation is blocked. And seventh one, Mr. Ayushman, a registered person having intrastate aggregate turnover of 1.2 crores in the preceding financial year, did not file the GST R3B for the month of September 2021 by November 10th, 2021. Okay. The amount of tax payable for the month of September 2021 is 8 lakhs. All his supplies are intrastate supplies. Is there any late fee payable for the same? If yes, what is the amount of late fee payable? Second question. Will your answer be different in A if Mr. Ayushman has intrastate aggregate turnover of 5 crores in the preceding financial year? Third question. Will your answer be different in A if the total amount of tax payable in GST R3B for the month of September is 0? Here the point will be, based on the latest amendments, if at all the return is not filed within the due date, in those cases, definitely the late fee will be depends upon your turnover. If at all your turnover is 1.5 lakhs, if at all your turnover is less than 1.5 crore, in those cases, the maximum late fee that can be levied will be 1000. If at all your turnover is more than 1.5 crore, up to 5 crores, definitely 5,000 rupees is the maximum late fee that can be levied. If at all it is a nil return, the maximum penalty that can be levied under CGST will be 250 rupees. What I am saying is for CGST, SGST also additional amount will also be there. Okay, these are the late fees as per the latest amendment. We will see what are they. See this here, see this the registered person whose aggregate turnover is less than or equal to 1.5 crore and who fails to furnish the returns, the late fee will be 2000, that is 1000 for CGST and 1000 for SGST. So the total late fee payable will be 2000. So as per the latest amendment, if the registered person aggregate turnover is more than 1.5 crore but less than or equal to 5 crores, then 2500 under CGST and 2500 under SGST, total it will be 5000. So the maximum late fee that can be levied is in this case 5000. If at all it is a nil return, in that case 250 under CGST, 250 under SGST, the maximum late fee that can be levied is 500 rupees. This is the latest amendment. So the RTP is based on latest amendments only. So in order to understand this in a better way, please refer the Masterminds GST amendments May 2022 video. After that, if you watch this RTP May 2022, definitely it will be very useful to you. So next question number 8, Mr. X of Haryana intends to start business of supply of building materials to various construction sites in Haryana. He has taken voluntary registration under GST in the month of April. However, he has not commenced the business till December due to the lack of working capital. Okay, Mr. X of Haryana intends to start the business. Which type of business? Supply of building materials to various construction sites in Haryana only. Has taken voluntary registration in the month of April. That means a person can take voluntary registration even though his turnover does not cross the specified limit. But once he has taken the voluntary registration, whatever the provisions that are generally applicable to a normal registered person will be applicable to voluntary registered person also. However, he has not commenced the business till December. Generally, there is a rule in section 29 subsection 2 that a voluntary registered person does not commence the business within a period of 6 months from the date of taking the voluntary registration. His RC can be cancelled as per section 29 subsection 2. So that point was invoked here. The proper officer Shumo cancel the registration of Mr. X. You are required to examine whether the action taken by the proper officer is valid in law. April to December, 6 months was lapsed or not? Yes, definitely. Mr. X has applied for revocation of cancellation of registration after 40 days from the date of service of order of cancellation of registration. Department contends that application for revocation of cancellation of registration can only be made within 30 days from the date of service of the order of cancellation of registration. However, Mr. X contends that the period of submission of application may be extended on the sufficient grounds being shown. You are required to comment upon the validity of the contentions raised by the department under Mr. X. Here, the first point is whether the department can cancel the RC. Yes, as per 29 subsection 2. Even though there is no application on the part of the registered person, the department Shumoto, that means voluntarily, can cancel the registration if at all the points specified under 29 subsection 2 are satisfied. In that, one point is that if at all you have taken the voluntary registration from that particular date within 30 days, from that particular date within 6 months you did not commence the business, then your RC can be cancelled by the department. Here also the same point is applicable. He has taken the RC in the month of April, but he did not commence the business up to December. So 6 months time period was lapsed here. In those cases, definitely the department can cancel the RC. Next point. Once the RC was cancelled, the registered person can apply for revocation or not? Yes, definitely can apply for revocation. Sir, in how many days he has to apply for revocation? Within 30 days from the date of cancellation. Okay, from the date of cancellation. Okay. But whereas after amendments, that's why I am telling you, before seeing this particular RTP May 2022, you must watch the amendments video. Then only you are able to understand in a better way. So please see the amendments video first, then only please refer the RTP. So now as per the latest amendment, definitely what is the position, what is the general rule? From the date of cancellation of this RC, within 30 days you have to apply for revocation. But whereas sufficient grounds are there, then this particular period can be extended for another 30 days by the additional commissioner or joint commissioner, and further extended by another 30 days by the commissioner. So this was the latest amendment. Previously there was no extension of time period, but now 30 days is the general time and another 30 days can be granted by additional or joint commissioner. After that, another 30 days can be granted by the commissioner. So based on the latest amendments, definitely the contention made by the X is valid in law, because there is extension of time limit is there, that is allowed. If at all sufficient cause is shown to the proper officer, definitely the contention that was made by Mr. X is valid in law. Definitely it can be given the extension time limit if at all sufficient cause is shown and the reasons were to be recorded in writing. That is the point. Say this. Okay, ma. So next, ninth one, ma. Geeta Services Limited, registered under GST, is engaged in providing various services to the government the company provides the following information in respect of services provided during the month of April. Okay. Supply of manpower for cleanliness of the roads not involving any supply of the goods. Generally, these services are provided to government. If at all pure labor services are provided to government, definitely it is exempted. Here it is not involving any supply of the goods. It is a pure labor contract, pure labor service, and it is provided to the government. Therefore, it is exempted. Next one. Services provided by fair price shops owned by Geeta Services Limited by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system against consideration in the form of commission. Generally, they are nothing but ration shops in our language. These ration shops are doing service to the government, therefore, it is also exempted. There is no need to pay any GST. Next one. Service of maintenance of street lights in a municipal area involving replacement of defunct lights and other spares along with maintenance. Generally, replacement of defunct lights and other spares constitutes 35% of supply of service. Generally, pure labor services that are provided to the government are exempt, and if at all supply of the goods is also involved, in that case it should not be more than 25%. Here in this case 35%, therefore definitely it is taxable. Pure labor services to the government are exempted, or along with supply of service, supply of the goods was also involved, in that case also it is exempted. If at all the goods value involved therein is less than 25%, here it is 35%, therefore it is taxable. And service of brochure distribution provided under a training program for which 70% of the total expenditure is borne by the government. So here this is also actually in the amendments. So more than 70% is there, definitely it can also be exempted. See this? See, pure services provided to government are exempt, and fair price shops, ration shops exempt. Whereas, see this, if at all composite supply is there, so 25% value of the goods were involved therein, then okay, it is exempted. Here it is 35% now, therefore it is taxable. And whereas, see this 75%, 75% of the expenditure is to be borne by government, then only it is exempted. Here it is only 70% now, that's why definitely it is taxable. So 75% expenditure should be borne by the government, then only it is exempted. Here only 70% of the expenditure was borne by the government, it is taxable. So first two are exempted and last two are taxable. So these are the points you should remember. Okay. And the last one is 10th one. Restrictions have been imposed on the use of amount available in the electronic credit ledger wide rule number 86B of CGST rules 2017. Is there any exceptions to the rule 86B? If yes, state the exceptions. What is this rule 86B, ma'am? Well, as per rule 86B, there is a restrictions on the use of amount available in the electronic credit ledger. That means only 99% of your ITC can be used to pay. 1% of the amount should be always paid in cash only. That is the point you should remember. Okay. Only 99% of the ITC, only 99% of the ITC can be used to pay. The remaining 1% should always be paid in cash. This was rule number 86B. But there are some exceptions to this rule number 86B in that if at all if at all any person, whether he is a registered person or with respect to HUF Karta, sole trading proprietor, company MD, like that. And whereas with whole time directors or trustees with respect to trust, and whereas with respect to partnership firm, any of these two partners have paying income tax of more than 1 lakh rupees in the last 2 financial years. In those cases, rule number 86B is not applicable. 100% ITC utilization can be done. When the registered person or with respect to HUF Karta, sole trading proprietor, company MD or whole time director, whereas partnership firm, any of the two partners have paid income tax of more than 1 lakh rupees in the preceding 2 financial years, then rule number 86B is not applicable. In the same way, the persons where the registered person has received any refund of more than 1 lakh on account of unutilized ITC because of zero rated supplies or inverted duty structure, then also be rule number 86B is not applicable, but the refund should have been received in the preceding financial year. Then only in the current year this particular rule is not applicable. What is meant by zero rated supplies? Exports and deemed exports will be treated as zero rated supplies. Zero rated supplies means exports and deemed exports. Zero rated supplies are treated as taxable supplies. Therefore, we can claim the ITC on zero rated supplies, but there is no output tax that will be utilized. There will be no output tax payable. If at all there is no output tax payable, we cannot utilize ITC that was taken. In those cases, that unutilized ITC will be refunded to that person. That refunded amount is more than 1 lakh in the preceding financial year, then also rule number 86B is not applicable. In the same way, inverted tax structure, that means where input tax rate is more than output tax rate. When input tax rate is more than output tax rate, in those cases, definitely what is the position? There will be accumulated ITC always, because let's say input tax rate is some 18%, whereas output tax rate is some 5%. In that case, always there will be accumulated ITC. That accumulated ITC will be refunded to that particular person as per section 54. And the amount that was refunded is more than 1 lakh in the preceding financial year, then also rule number 86B is not applicable. And next one, last but not the least, payment of total output tax liability through electronic cash ledger in excess of 1% of total output tax liability. That means cumulatively, let's say you are in the month of March. In this particular March month, from April to March, what is the total tax liability? In that, already you paid 1% of the total tax liability in cash. More than 1% of the total tax liability in cash. In those cases also, rule number 86B will not be applicable. Okay, from April to March, in this month, the total, please take what is the total tax liability. From the total tax liability, please check from April to Feb, how much money you just paid through electronic cash ledger. If at all it is more than 1% of the total tax liability that was paid in cash, in those cases, definitely, what is the position? This rule number 86B will not be applicable, and definitely total amount, that means 100% of ITC can be utilized. And the specified person, if at all these persons, like simply if this rule number 86B is not applicable to government departments, public PSUs, local authorities, statutory bodies, for these types of organizations, rule number 86B is not applicable. Definitely, what is the position? They can take. Definitely, they can take. What is the position? 100% ITC utilization, rule number 86B will not be applicable to them. So, this is RTP concept. But keep it in mind, before seeing this particular video of RTP May 2022, please listen to the amendments videos relating to May 2022, because all these RTP problems are majorly focused on amendments. First, see the amendments video, Masterminds amendments video on the YouTube. After that, please refer this RTP, then it will be very useful to you. So definitely, I hope this video is useful to you to gain some marks in our GST. So God bless you all and all the best to all of you for your upcoming exams. Bye to all.